Something happened this week that everybody's been wishing for a long, long time. And it isn't that Drew is Shiloh. Details after our opening. Hey, everybody. It's Friday, September 5th, 2025, the first Friday after Labor Day. And boy, did that happen quickly. I did not expect the Who Shot Drew mystery to kick off literally the day after Labor Day. Did you?
No, I didn't. And it was obviously they were squeezing the tension in as much as they could over the last few weeks, right? And we obviously, because we've been talking about what's the end game, how are they going to do this? And you nailed it, David. You said he will get shot,
Yeah.
but he will not die.
Yes, Cameron Matheson, I knew was not going to go anywhere.
I,
And so now they've got an opportunity for redemption. He can wake up with amnesia. He
he
can
could
wake up
wake up as Austin
or Jason, since
or
he supposedly
Jason.
has his memories locked in his brain. But oh my gosh, I was actually, other than the spoilers, I was actually surprised it was that quickly. And they were a little heavy-handed with like how many people are going to threaten Drew this week and how many people are going to overhear the threats. Elizabeth Corte, as I said a few weeks ago, is now the head writer in charge, even though she is co-head writers with Chris Von Etten, because we know Chris Von Etten just likes to retcon characters and have everybody related to everybody else. That's his big thing. Elizabeth Corte finally pulled the plug after how many would-be murder mysteries?
And here we are. I mean, like I said, on Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning after the deed was done, writers, don't screw this up. We've got a great setup here. We've got all our ducks in a row as to who's on the docket. And I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. I didn't think they would do this. I didn't think I mean, what else could they have done? They couldn't. I mean, they had to do this. And I'm so glad we don't know who did it.
And we didn't have to wait until November sweep. It's kicking off the fall storylines. And like I said, I'm watching this like a hawk because I'm a big murder mystery fan. Everybody
Same.
knows The Edge of Night was my soap. And so I'm watching this carefully because the great thing about The Edge of Night is they always had a confession episode where like somebody would finally figure it out. And on Edge of Night, it most likely was the police.
Oh, okay then.
That should be noted. It was usually a police officer who figured it out and would confront the the person who did it. And then the entire episode would be basically the person confessing, flashing back how they did it, how they pulled it off, and then either there was another cliffhanger with the murder suspect or something else would happen. But yeah, I'm watching this very carefully to see if this is laid out. So far, so good.
Well, Tuesday, I remember when I was watching and all of a sudden it started raining. And I
Yeah.
remember thinking, what is with the rain? First of all, what a pain to have to clean up after you do that. I mean, I'm sure the set guys hate when the director says, "We got to make it rain." I hate the rain. And I was like, why are they doing that? And then I realized, oh, because we need to see some people with wet hair to make us think they murdered. So far, so good. Let's
Yeah,
see.
it's not clear yet to me if some time had elapsed between all those people. So again, people that you saw with other people, it could have happened like 2 hours later.
Right. And
We
that's what
don't
I
know if
said
there
on
was
the,
a time jump. Yeah.
yeah, as I said, we can't know who until we know when. And in General Hospital time, we know the clock does not go in a linear manner by any means.
Yeah.
It's like one of those crazy clocks. So we don't know. We don't know where Michael was out with a blonde woman. What blonde woman? What? Anna in her wrap up yesterday talking to Chase. Hold on. I'm going to sound Shakespearean while I talk to you, Chase. One moment, please. There is a murderer amongst us. I'm like, what is happening here?
Little too Miss Marple for my taste.
Indeed, indeed. I was laughing, but it was great because we got the whole, we got the picture of everyone they think is a suspect, and they alluded to Carly and Sonny as well. So, yeah, we got a whole lineup. The only people we know for sure didn't do it are Tracy, Kai, and Trina.
And
And
Jason,
and
because
and
he's in
Jason, because
Paris.
Jason's in Croatia, right?
Oh, he's in
And,
Paris. He's at the Paris airport.
oh,
He was
that's
at the
right.
Paris
Yeah,
airport.
well, he's turning
I
around.
think I think the direct flight is Port Charles to Paris, then Paris to Croatia, because
I
he was
need to
already
remember that the next time I go to Paris that I need to
when you're booking. Yeah.
fly through Port Charles.
Although
Yes.
when you take a flight internationally, it's a matter of a commercial break.
I know. They have
So
the best airlines in Port Charles.
these supersonic jets, I tell you, the best thing.
After
Oh
Carly
boy.
set the world record for going around the world in 15 minutes. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really good.
Here it is, folks. You wanted it, you got it.
Yep.
So
There we are.
let's hopefully can enjoy it too.
I'm
So,
enjoying once again that we have Ava, Christina, and Alexis binding their unholy alliance even stronger now because Ava's like, "Oh, we'll be your alibi because oh my gosh, and Alexis is like, "I was in the basement with our guest." Well, we can't tell them that, It was just
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
I love
Although
those
she
three.
wasn't wet,
No.
so maybe she was in the basement.
Well, the people who got wet were the ones who went out without an umbrella. I'm sure if you had
Right.
an umbrella, it was a device, right?
Yeah. What did you think of Tracy being the one to find him? I
Okay.
thought that was good.
Interestingly enough, Wicked Stepmother and I were watching together last night, and we actually paused and talked about it
Yeah.
because something happened in that Tracy scene that once again cements what an incredible actress Jane Elliott is because she comes in and and she's mad at Drew. She's angry at him just like everybody else, and she was going over there to kind of slap some sense into him. And then she immediately switched to, "Oh my God, that's my nephew." The family importance to Tracy that's her greatest motivator, at least in some ways, right? So even though she's probably thrilled to death that Drew's lying on the floor dead, other Tracy, family Tracy's like, "Oh my God, this is my nephew. How did this happen?" That kind of thing. So I thought those were great scenes.
Yeah. Now, what did you think about the purposely leaving out characters like Sonny because he was with Dante,
Hmm.
or not Tad Martin because he was with Lulu?
Well, again, we don't know the timing,
Right.
so we don't know, right? Because we don't know when Martin and Lulu were having that ridiculous conversation. Excuse me. It wasn't a ridiculous conversation. It was actually a good conversation because we got to see Lulu show at least a little bit of integrity in her reporting, and so that was good. Anything that gives Lulu points, I'm all for it.
Although I point out on this week's recap, which should appear either late tonight or early tomorrow, if it's a private conversation, why was it done at the Port Charles Grill?
Well, they were able to see Michael come back in. I mean, it must have been there for a reason.
Okay.
Did they see someone there? Did they?
No, I mean, I just thought that's the set they had up. So, because
That's
that does dictate, unfortunately,
where things
sometimes
happen. Yeah.
why these ridiculous things happen where they happen.
For example, Portia and Nina's conversation at the Brown Dog. First of all, since when are Portia and Nina that close?
Right. Well,
That was
that's what I call a recap scene. They needed to catch each other up on the current state of affairs, of what they're involved with, so that we lay the groundwork for when Drew is shot. Because you saw the bartender come and, oh, they're gone. Thank God they left money on the table.
well, Portia had a couple of weird non sequitur scenes, shall we say. So she has her little office coitus with Isaiah. And then the next time we see them, she's crawling into bed with him in his apartment or in his Metro Court. I'm like, wait a
I
minute.
couldn't figure that out. Yeah.
We had lots of coitus and secret invisible episodes if she's showing up at his house. That was
Yeah.
just weird.
I thought it was a dream at first,
Yeah, there was
and
no
then it
context.
wasn't. And then
Yeah,
it
it
wasn't
wasn't.
because
No.
she got the phone call and he's like, do you want me to come with? I'm like, wow, they got chummy fast, especially after she gave him that whole speech about, well, I'm married and da 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 da, which happened after Curtis left. Or she tells Nina the marriage is over.
It's just weird. There were some weird continuity things this week. Um,
Again, filming out of order, it just sometimes
right.
screws things up,
Exactly. Exactly.
because again, directors interpret the writer's work, and unless the writer is specifically telling them, look, direct it this way because this will affect things down the line. Moving on, let's talk about Vaughn and Joss
Oh my
still
gosh.
locked up
So
in
the
Croatia.
Bobbsey twins are in Croatia in a closet because, of course, they are. And one of the things I enjoy about Brit so much is her innate comedic timing. Even when she's being very serious, this woman understands how to work a scene so that it comes off with some humor. Her opening the closet door and finding Joss and Vaughn in there and then just turning around and walking out without saying anything
Door, right?
was awesome.
Yeah.
And then coming back and basically saying, I can't help you. And Joss is like, please help me. And Britt's like, I'm not going to help you. And then Joss is like, oh, we're WSB agents. And Britt was like, excuse me? You're what now? You?
Yes, even Brett found that hard to believe.
And then, of course, she's wearing a dress with pockets because that's a thing. She reaches into her pocket and slips the manicure scissors into Joss's hand, which she then uses to free them. And now we have the guard coming in, and that's where we are with that. But that was,
It's like
yeah,
it feels like they've been locked up for weeks.
in the closet
But
without.
then like I see Jordan's dress and I'm like, "Oh, that's right, it's the same day." It's been the same day for almost 2 weeks now. Plus we have
Like
the Monday holiday, so
Port Charles clocks, not
right.
living.
Right. Right. Well, they have to set up the murder mystery, and since it happened on this day, yeah, this day's going to drag on probably for a couple more days. Maybe not. We'll see.
We'll
We'll
see.
see. We haven't watched Fridays yet. A character of the week.
My character of the week is Britt, specifically for the phone conversation with Jason. Jason, can you hear me now? Oh my gosh, that was so good. I mean, obviously there was no superb acting that took place there, and if I had any sense at all, I'd choose my character of the week to be Tracy or someone like that. But no, that scene just did it for me. I love that scene.
I really don't have a character of the week because, well, for us the
It's
week is
three
so
days.
short.
Yeah,
It's
so
three
short.
days, and it's like I said, it's the same night. Maybe Curtis, because
Mhm.
all Curtis did this week. I mean, I've lost track of how many times Curtis has threatened Drew, either to Drew's face or to someone else in a conversation. It's like, can we set him up even more to be a suspect? Who do you think is going to be the suspect?
I don't. I honestly, I don't know at this point. I don't want to even guess. I think like Michael's wet hair. I think that's a red herring.
Right.
I hope it's Willow, but I don't think it is Willow. I don't know. It might be Alexis. I
That'll
don't
be
know.
interesting. Maybe it's Wiley. I'm saying that because that was the reveal on Days of Our Lives. Their murder mystery, who shot EJ, and of course he lived because he's again. I knew Drew was going to live because he's too important to character to lose.
Okay.
He's dispensable, but he's not dispensable on this
Exactly.
show.
There's no way that they're gonna no. And besides, the aftermath of this will be better if Drew is alive. Putting
Yeah,
Drew
yeah.
in the grave is like you're cutting off your knees because you've got all the story you can keep going with. So,
Exactly, exactly. So what's your believable rumor this week that you saw on the
and I will
all
post,
those fake pages?
right, and I have the image to go with this. It's Scout reveals at Drew's funeral who his killer is. That's my favorite one. Of course, he's
That
not
was
dead, and
you're right,
Scout
right.
doesn't know who the killer is. But aside from that, it's a
Oh,
completely believable rumor.
mine was Scout is the killer.
Oh,
Maybe she snuck out of Lila's camp for the night at
that
that
that happens
sleepover.
at night. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was a sleepover. They explained that. It was. I have to pay real attention now to everything that happens on the show to recap it. So those little throwaway lines
That I
that a
missed.
lot of people miss because a lot of people fast forward the show. So then, and you see it on the page all the time. So then they ask on the page, well, where's so and so? And it's like, oh, they explained. It was like, oh, who's taking care of Bailey Lou? Well, they explained Charlotte is, things like that. Four and a half
That
year old
seems
Charlotte.
like a good plan. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Putting murderous Charlotte in charge of a baby.
Apparently, all her issues have been cleared up. Quite independent, I hear. Yeah.
I have to
It's
I have to
it's
share a
crazy.
funny story this morning. So the family is bustling about getting ready to leave for work and school and all this. And
Mhm.
Sam's kind of standing around here getting ready. And Nina and I are talking, and we're talking about Brit.
This
And
is her real life, by the way,
this is my real life that we're
because
talking
you are
about this.
dropping names that are
And
also character
and
names.
I somehow I said the sentence, well, she was dying of Huntington's and then she got hooked. And Sam turns around and looks at, and of course, Nina knows exactly what I'm talking about, right? Sam turns around and looks at me and he goes, she got hooked on Huntington's? I said, oh, no, 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 no. Hook doesn't mean what you think it means. There was a hook killer. He's like, this is the weirdest show.
I always say, explain the plot line to your friends and watch the eyes just roll into the back of their heads because they're like, what are you talking
I
about?
know,
How
I
does this
know.
happen on a soap opera? Well, here's something interesting. And we have a lot of Days of Our Lives fans out there as well as General Hospital fans. Days of Our Lives now is under these new head writers are trying to be very, very realistic
Hmm.
and do a lot of accounting for where people are.
Oh, so you know where the people are on the campus.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, why wouldn't that wait? He was just with his child. Why is his child not with him? Oh, I dropped him off at Julie's house, and so they're very good about that. And I have a really good sense of what's going on, and they don't, because one of the big soap, I guess it's a soap trope only because of you have to do it this way when it's the next you have a bunch of plot lines one day and then it's the next day and it's all different characters
Hmm.
and you're like, wait, aren't we going to continue? No, and then that continues the day after that. Oh, but it's still the morning. We just haven't seen those characters yet. I mean, that's just a
Well,
necessity of
I
soaps.
have a memory of back in the day knowing that certain stories would show up on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and
Right,
other
right,
stories would be the Tuesday, Thursday stories. And then
right.
as one story got more exciting, they'd flip. Is that a correct memory or am I making things
No,
up?
that is a correct memory. And again, that was probably how they did the schedules back then because it was probably a lot easier.
Hmm.
I mean, definitely was a lot easier to write a soap when it was 30 minutes long and you were filming the show in
In
order
order. Yeah.
because literally as you would watch the show throughout the week, say one character's on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that actor went into the studio Monday, Wednesday, Friday and filmed the show. The other actors came in. Yeah. So that was sort of a thing. Now, because they film things out of order, I have issues with it, but there are some good things with it.
Yeah.
You can do a lot more surprise things. Like you can have a character show up right at the end of the episode because it's like that actor may not have been in that day. They probably filmed that scene the day they were in
Well, and
filming all
in
the other
today's
scenes.
world, it accommodates our actors who don't want to live in Hollywood too. Rick Lansing, I mean, he doesn't live, the
He's in
actor,
Jersey. Yeah, he lives
yeah,
in
he lives,
Jersey.
so he knows he comes out here for whatever the week or who that he where he films his episodes for the next month and a
Yeah,
half, and
yeah.
then he goes back. So
Well,
it works that way.
Kirsten Storms moving to Tennessee.
Exactly.
She can do that because probably the way the schedule is. And I do hear that General Hospital's schedule is the roughest of all the soaps because they will film up to 8 episodes a week.
Hmm.
And that's in order to give the actors weeks off. So the show goes dark, saves money, they might go dark for 2 or 3 weeks. It gives all the actors a vacation, but then they have to work extra hard to make up. And Days does something similar. Now, The Young and the Restless, it's completely different. They still do somewhat film day to day. They might do as many as 6 episodes a week just to get ahead because they don't have as many preemptions as General Hospital seems to have. They work at a much slower pace. So they still have, but again, they do what they can to save money. It's a cost cutting
I
movie.
heard Nancy Lee Grahn on a podcast this week, and she's so well spoken in real life. She's really quite interesting. But she said she was talking about why she loves her job so much. She says, I work 20 weeks out of the year. I mean, hello, that's a lot of weeks where you're not working. She
Yep.
says, we used to work super long hours. Now they keep us in a very tight. I mean, obviously they will go late sometimes, but she says, there are weeks where I work one day. There are weeks where I work 4 days. It's the best job I've ever had. And I thought, yeah, that would be pretty great. And they know ahead of time. It's not like they
Right,
get up
right. They can plan vacations. Yeah.
yeah, and they do. And Nancy travels a lot when she's
Mhm.
off. And yeah, I thought that it's interesting to think about the behind the scenes things and how they put everything together. And I think that's also why a scene like that random scene with Portia and Isaiah, it's like they had this scene, they had to demonstrate that this was happening, but they didn't really want to spend any extra time explaining it. So they just kind of stuck, the breakdown writer just stuck that in at that point, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, it seemed a little odd and off, but yeah, I mean they actually like this schedule. They work very hard and very intensely for several weeks at a time, and then they get a break,
Yeah.
which is great for them. So that brings me to my soap recommendation for the week.
Oh, good. Excellent.
Yes, and this is a very obvious one, and many of our audience might already be following this page, but it's the Stone Cold and Jackal. Not only they have a Facebook page, which is
And Instagram.
they're and Instagram. They're trying to put more on the Facebook page, talk about the other soaps, do a little more on this day in history. And I've taken a lot of their stuff and featured it on our page.
Mhm.
But I've started watching their I think it's weekly, maybe twice a week, I'm not even sure.
It's their
Podcast.
podcast together is weekly, and then
They
Bradford
do
does a spoiler thing
Oh, right.
every
Okay.
week.
So I
Yeah.
haven't watched that, but I watched their podcast. It's usually about a half hour, like we try to keep it. But it's very entertaining, and I think we've mentioned this before. Steve Burton is a completely different person
And
in
Jason.
real life than he is on the show. And even
Yeah.
if you don't like Jason on the show, you will like Steve Burton in real
He's
life. He's
darling.
very personable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's gregarious and clever, and the two of them are
Yeah.
they're very good friends, and they bounce off each other in a really good way.
Well, they were, or I don't know if Steve Burton isn't Bradford Anderson in a band with some of the
Oh,
other
yeah, and they go
PH
on tour
alumni?
and they sing
Yeah.
together too.
And yeah, I've not gone to one of their live comedy events, but apparently they do a lot of them. They book up quickly. You learn a lot just in their back and forth about the show. And one thing I laughed about on this current week's podcast, Bradford was reading questions from their viewers. And one of the questions was, why is Pascal always in PJs? Which we pointed out and
Everyone
nicknamed
wants to know. Yes.
PJ Pascal. Yeah.
PJ Pascal.
So if you got some time looking for a new podcast, and like I said, like and follow their Facebook page, it's really great. And they do feature a lot of great stuff now on their Facebook page. And Bradford said this past week, they're putting more effort into the Facebook page. So there's always something there every day to read and catch up on. And we'll feature as much as that as we can, including links to their podcast.
Well, and here's our philosophy, right? There's enough General Hospital to go around. What I mean is, if we have 5 people doing a podcast about General Hospital, I support that because there's 5 different takes on what's going on. And
Right.
if you enjoy listening to us, you're probably going to enjoy listening to them and vice versa. So we will never discourage you from going anywhere else. I mean, the whole idea here is we're involved in this giant industry of soap operas, right? And we want to promote. That's why we talk about days. That's why we talk about these other things. The more the genre is supported, the better for all of us, right?
As they say, a rising tide benefits all ships.
That's right. So
Something like
that's where we are with people like Rebecca Buddig doing her podcast and Bradford and Steve doing theirs. It's all good. And we know ours is different because we're different.
that. Exactly.
We just have a
Well,
different take on things.
yeah, our page is a little different
And
too.
we
I mean, we're
are different.
yes.
Yeah.
So, is it time for text messages from Wicked Stepmother?
So David, to this week it's not text messages with Wicked Stepmother. It's live and in person, Wicked
Oh
Stepmother.
my gosh, I'm so honored to meet you and welcome to our
Thank
Snarkcast.
you. I'm a fellow follower.
Well,
Everyone counts.
for those who are new to the page and to the Snarkcast, this is my stepmother, Nina Shipman. She was a contract actress in the days of the studios, and she was on many, many television shows and movies. And for our purposes, she appeared on General Hospital for a week. And what's the title of your memoir about that?
As I lay dying.
Yes, because she was dying of Lassa Fever for a whole week.
And that Lassa Fever story, which I watched, went on for I think a couple of months.
You were
It
only
probably
on
was
for a
like
week,
five
I
right?
was
days,
on for
but
one
yeah,
whole week. No
yeah.
lines, dying.
They
But,
needed bodies.
well, I provided it. And I kept the
No,
mouth.
that was great. And I mean, you have such a wonderful resume. You have appeared on so many shows that I think everybody knows and everybody loves. You did an episode of Love American Style, which was one of my favorite shows in
Yes.
the late 60s. And you did one of my all-time favorite shows. I just recently bought all 14 seasons of The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I
And
forgot you were on that. Yeah.
Yes.
you
That was
worked
an
with Ricky
adventure.
Nelson.
Yeah, I was one of his girlfriends. Or, yeah, I remember doing,
Nurse Peggy Benson.
thank you. I didn't know my name. I heard the owl
Yes.
call my name, but I didn't know it.
Rick went out of his way to track down student nurse Peggy Benson to
Oh,
ask her out. Yes.
that was
Yeah.
so cool.
No, I'm sure you have.
Ozzy was a sweetheart. I really liked him. He made me. I knew my lines. That's what I do. I come
Right.
prepared. He said, "No, use the monitor." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because it just guarantees everything will go smoothly." And I thought, I can't talk to a monitor. I want to talk to you. Anyway, that's my Ozzy.
He was very particular. I know that about that
Yes,
show. And yeah.
but
Yeah.
we got along. We
No, that's great. So how did you end up doing daytime television after doing all these nighttime series?
I guess they needed a body, and I looked the part, whatever that meant. I was Nina the Nice for years, whether dying or living. I was just,
She did her ingenue thing very well.
thank
So,
you.
yeah.
Well, I made a few bucks.
Yeah.
I was a working actor, and I took jobs.
Yep.
So that was it.
But during that time, you were also doing commercials. You had national commercials running, and I don't know if you were still doing sitcoms at that point,
I
but
did television and
Oh
commercials.
yeah.
And it was funny. If one of the commercials that I did was one of the sponsors of a show that I interviewed for, I couldn't do it.
What?
That would confuse people.
oh, because you were
First, I'm selling them toilet paper or something, and then
Right,
I'm
right.
doing, yeah, and that makes sense now. But at the time, it was like,
Yeah. And it's funny how many times I watch a lot of old soap operas on YouTube and they still have the original commercials. And it's funny how many times you're watching a soap and then they go to the commercial break and it's like one of the characters is on a commercial. It's like
very
wait,
confusing.
it really takes you out of
Weird.
your show because
Yeah.
like, wait, she's trying a breath mint at a wedding and she was just kidnapped.
A friend of mine, we were kind of the same type, and we'd show up at the same interviews for a similar part, and we became, interview buddies.
Yeah.
She was on General Hospital. She got shot. She was a nurse. And a week later, she's still lying on the floor. Was the way they filmed it. And I ran into, I can't remember her name now, but it's something like Brit or Bree or something. And I said, oh my gosh, you must smell.
Lying on that floor for a week.
Yeah, just nobody.
Well, I think the whole first week of Port Charles was the interns drilling a hole into Audrey Hardy's head because she got shot and doing an operation.
For a week. Gotta love a hole in your brain that takes a week to do.
For the first week. Yeah. That's why I'm saying I think this murder mystery is just, it's going to be the same day for a couple of more days because it's like that night and it's fresh and they got to interview everybody and see where they all are. But yeah,
it's kind of
that
fun,
gets old
actually.
sometimes.
I kind of like
What
that.
was it like? What did you notice any differences working the daytime experience versus working primetime?
Very much. Filming technique. Daytime was tape. So I was in the radio TV guild. And when I shot, you shot till the story was over. So set fell down. If the lines got screwed up, you said it funny, they never cut away. You just, if the set fell down, okay, they do a retake. Otherwise, you're on your own, bud. So
and nighttime was they would cut more and you stop and reset. And
this was straight through. And my recollection wasn't to set; it was to story. Like now, it's changed their MO from what I learned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
she's very informative. So are you. Show up at 6 a.m., hair rolled, go to makeup, go down to this basement place with chalk marks all over the floor. The director and 3 cameramen. When you say this line, you walk over there. Cameraman 3, you take that shot. And it's like, bup, 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 bup. And when I get up on the set, you start shooting and you cannot talk to the director. He's way up in Godland someplace. And you only talk to the floor director, the AD, basically.
And see, today they've cut out a lot of the rehearsal time. So a lot of times the actors go right from the makeup room to the set. They'll rehearse on their own because the director is working with the cameramen to set up all the shots. So yeah, it's similar to that.
We didn't get a rehearsal either.
Yeah,
we
move here, move here, and then they just shoot it.
Yeah. We only got blocked. We didn't get talked. Hey, I said something funny.
You did.
Blocked and talked. How odd.
She sounds like Hat Daddy. She's rhyming.
She is. Her wordplay on everything is hilarious. So
I have fun with words. Those are my. When I travel, I have a Kindle.
Crossword puzzles. Yeah.
And I write nonsense. My favorite poet is Ogden Nash. He gets to the point right away. And he's funny.
Yeah.
And he butchers the English language cleverly. That's my goal.
The other thing to know about Nina is that she is, we talk about legacy characters on General Hospital, but she's a legacy character in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. Her grandmother was a silent screen star, Nell Shipman. She was one of the first women to have her own studio, and she would produce and direct her own work. Nell's son, Barry, her dad, was a screenwriter. He wrote for all those old television shows, Lone Ranger, Rifleman, all those things. He wrote for that. And her mom, Gwen Shipman, was a dancer and worked with Fred Astaire and those guys and taught dances and was things like that. So she comes by, and then her daughter, of course, is an actor and has her own drama school. So it's very much a legacy family.
It's hard not to be.
Yeah. Well, I'm only legacy adjacent because none of this trickled down.
She has a good, what do you call it?
Step legacy in law or
what? A step legacy. Yes, that's what I have. Legacy.
Well, that's great. And it's so wonderful to just talk with because you are old Hollywood. Mm-hmm. You are,
I'm not, I'm old, but okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll
her shirt, which you can't see, says, I don't.
I see no good reason to act my age.
I see no good reason to act my age. And she doesn't. I trust me.
Whatever that age is.
Well, it's wonderful to have you here. Come back anytime. Thanks. We love having guests.
I love, can I do a shout out?
Yes, please.
I have a neighbor in Hawaii right across the street who is a fan who watches GH and watches the Snarkcast. I would like to do a shout out to Natek.
Hi, Natek.
Hi, Natek.
Natek is, she comments frequently on the page and
Oh.
she follows us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll see you soon. I'm coming home tomorrow.
Yeah.
Terrific. She had to stay and do this Snarkcast first.
Yes,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
did. I put her to work.
Yeah.
I put her to work.
I want it. What's my wage?
Your wage is food. Food and a bed.
There you go.
B&B.
Well, while we still have Nina, I'm going to tell you the breaking news.
Yes, what's the breaking news?
And I'm going to tease something because we're going to have another special guest coming up. I'm not sure if it's going to be next week, but coming up soon. We will be taping it next week. So we'll hopefully have it up for you next week. But the breaking news for the show is Valentine is coming back.
He's a mean
I knew that
candidate.
would make
too.
He's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
and so that goes to my theory of who the big boss is.
Ah,
That's not a bad one.
I know.
not bad one either.
Well, we're at the end of the Snarkcast. I got to put her on a plane in a couple hours, and so we need to get going.
Aloha.
Like,
Aloha to you.
Aloha
Don't forget to follow us on all our platforms, Instagram, X, although we're not on there that much, but
No.
we still
Yeah.
repost stuff. Of course, our main Facebook page, of course on Substack, and of course here on YouTube or
Spotify. Yeah.
whatever platform you're listening to us on. Safe travels, Nina. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And
My
we'll
pleasure.
see you next week.
Next week, everyone. Have a good one.
I'll be there too.